Hi there. This is a reading for Aquarius, but it is also the beginning of a new phase of this channel. I've been studying the tarot since January of 2020, not very long, and I was just, in my usual fashion, interested, and I found that the readers on YouTube helped me. And the history of tarot is grounded in the period that I study as a historian in the 16th century France. It's grounded in the science I study of humorism. And I was clearly training my intuition, Beyond that, it was unknown to me why I was pursuing the tarot. And as I keep following my intuition day by day, it becomes clearer and clearer to me. And so on this day, I will enter into what I think this is for. And I'm sure it's for more. But in as I understand it today, really through watching another tarot reader, Cindy of Awakening to Spirit, and her Scorpio reading today. I even went and watched the extended Inner Child reading. I feel that I am ready to, and I'm called to now, come out a little bit about what I'm doing. And Aquarians, I don't think I have that many Aquarius friends. Hardly anybody watched that video. And so there's a kind of liberty in being hidden from view. So I have a character in my sci-fi novel that I'm working on, and let's just say it's more than a novel. It's a whole world. It's a world that begins in the end of this one, and I just want to tell one little story in it, but I've created an entire world that is meant to invite people into kind of resolving the seeming apocalypse that we're living in now, getting off the planet, preserving the planet, and returning to the planet in various ways, and also gaining a spiritual understanding of what I began to understand through the mycelium, which is the root structure of fungus. So I've talked about that in various places. Maybe I'll put the blog address here where I've been writing this, where I've been building this world, in the comments under this. I'm not sure. All I know is I'm supposed to move from hiding and into world building, universe building for that matter. I'm going to begin. I was scheduled to do an Aquarius reading, and the character in my story is Gallia. She is a veterinarian. She is Aquarius. I don't know the rest of her chart. Hopefully we will find that out today. And I want to know about the story of Gallia as we meet her just today. Where is Gallia right now? What is her story? And we'll do just the usual reading that I do here. So I'm going to start with the Queen of the Moon Oracle, and we'll pull this for Gallia. So we get darkness. This is where Gallia comes from. The long night moon, darkness. Number 40. And on the bottom here we get the void, the dark moon. Wow. Okay, Aquarius, you, Gallia, a lot of darkness. And that's so interesting because I actually chose the Dark Tarot as the clarifier for this reading, which seems to me, what just kind of came to me, may end up being Gallia's deck as we go forward with this project. So number 40, darkness. And I feel very free to no longer try to market myself or make this into some kind of a channel that people watch. What I'm creating is an archive for the books I write and the stories I have to tell. This is just a part of that archive. So, Gallia, Aquarius, darkness, the long night moon. You're entering a time of introversion, a leaner time, or a time to turn inward to plan and strategize. It is time to do shadow work, which will bring big dividends later on. Release what no longer works for you. The darkness needs to be there as much as does the light. It is during these long nights we begin to do our shadow work, undertaking the self-reflection needed to identify what isn't working for us and what might be causing us pain. This could be a bad habit, a destructive pattern, a recurring useless fear, or anything that holds us back from being the best we can be. Once we see these aspects of ourselves in the dark, we can simply decide whether they must go. We can decide to release them once and for all. We get to transform. And the stone that comes with this card is the onyx. Okay, Aquarius, in darkness. It makes total sense to me. This character I know is internal. She is, like Aquarians, a loner. She feels like a stranger, almost an alien being. She sees ahead. And she harms herself. She is a self-harmer here, so that comes out in this darkness card too. Now, Aquarius, we're in the age of Aquarius, and I listened to Coyote Star Astrology recently, and she was talking about this, that we tend to think of this great hippie dawning of the age of Aquarius. But she said that at low vibrations, Aquarians can be as cold as artificial intelligence, that looking into the eyes of an Aquarian can be like looking into the eyes of a robot. And of course, if you're a science fiction reader and you like to think in terms of science fiction, it is those artificial intelligence characters. I'm thinking of the Alien trilogy. I'm thinking of Steven Spielberg's AI, that movie. But the way that artificial intelligence appears in science fiction is often with a struggle over what it means to be human, a kind of aspiration to be human. And then in other cases we've seen more recently, the way that artificial intelligence can, for example, like Siri, like if we take Siri, or the Google lady, I call her the Google Map lady, who helped me travel all around Athens and Crete and Naxos a couple of years back. There's this idea that they can learn much more quickly, that they have access to all of the knowledge that we have now socketed away on the internet. And that being can be quite cold. And we do have anxiety always about what our robots will do once they get the kind of agency and freedom. They're like slaves. And so when we look at artificial intelligence, when we look at robots within science fiction, we must also deal with our legacy of slavery. And all of these things are relevant in this moment. Okay, so to begin with, now Gallia is, in my fiction, she is raised with horses. And so I looked for horses when I picked decks, but Aquarius, your card is the star. And in this deck, there is a beautiful star. So this is the Light Seers deck. We're just going to do a 7-card spread, and then we will clarify with the Dark Tarot. Okay. So first of all, in your recent past, we get the Knight of Wands. This is the passionate lover, party girl, can be a player. There's a horse in the background weeping because she is a knight, and the knights often appear with horses. A very wild horse, untamed, and that is your recent past. In your present, we see you in your Queen of Cups mode. Here, psychically connecting, very emotionally intelligent, receptive. The Queen of Cups knows how she feels, and she's good at expressing her feelings, but And she's in, so we've moved from fire to water here in your story. All right, hidden influence, the King of Cups. This is the partner to the Queen of Cups, obviously. And the King of Cups is also an emotionally intelligent figure. So this is in your background. This is hidden influence, the King of Cups. He is emotionally intelligent. He's very deep. He's been willing to, like the Queen, go deep into the waters of the emotional realm. He's touching that cup. And when I think of the star card, water figures very much in the star card. And Aquarius, you are the cup holder in the story of your constellation. Aquarius goes back to a great romance between Zeus and Ganymede, a Trojan youth that was the most beautiful mortal on earth. And Zeus fell in love with this youth, and so turned himself into an eagle and captured this young man and took him up to Mount Olympus and made him his cupbearer. And Aquarius, you are that cupbearer. There's more, but that's what I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, and you appear here in this reading, in this moment, working hard. This is the quitting your job card. You have, look at all the burdens that you're carrying. There's movement, though. You're on a path. It is a path of work. And I see her traveling. I see you traveling. Okay. All right. Try not to shuffle here. People in your life. The Knight of Swords. So this is the fast knight running off to carry this message on a dark day, right? Remember, darkness is the overlying, sort of the surrounding energy of this moment in your story and in Gallia's story. Okay, advice. The Four of Pentacles. This is a card of somebody who is controlling, containing, protecting, and the advice is very often either to do that, to continue to do that, or to move out of that state, because it's not a very powerful place to stay. Low numbers for it's, but I really see this person in this particular deck as the proud, hardworking woman of color that she is, and she's proud of what she has earned and rightfully protective and valuing it here. And she has her eyes closed, and eyes closed in tarot, or it means looking inward. Okay. And finally, we get the Six of Swords. This is a card for your future. This is a card of movement, of sort of a change of ideas, moving from one truth to another, but it can also mean actually traveling from one place to another in the future. And that is certainly true for the characters in my book. So I see the Knight of Swords is about to jump on that motorbike, and I see the Ten of Wands, you in this traveling and travel in your future. But in the present, you are in the Queen of Cups. The King of Cups is with you. So let's find out more about the darkness from the Dark Tarot. And now these cards, I'm a feminist, but a lot of comic book women's bodies, they have they're very naked, and they have fake breasts, and I really like this deck, but even I still want to say there's some I'm not troubled by this personally, by the eroticized female body in any way, but I do want to respect women and their bodies, and so I feel you just have to go a little bit into your darkness, into your this Knight of Wands side where you are unabashed and unashamed of your desire. And sometimes it's just not politically correct. And I don't think this deck is in any way politically correct. Okay, so the Knight of Wands, your recent past, Gallia's recent past here. We get the High Priestess, okay? You can see what I mean here. The High Priestess, she is intuitive, she is powerful, she knows. She is walking towards us in the context of bats out of darkness. She's very comfortable in darkness. Okay. So on the bottom we get Knave of Pentacles. We see an ending here. So the world, this is an ending, this is a beginning. This is your recent past. And we see a Five of Swords. A Five of Swords is winning, but sometimes with regret, right? See, she's looking backwards. She's probably wondering, okay, I won this battle, but do I feel good about it here? And yeah, her body posture reminds me a great deal of this very fun Knight of Wands. So there is a kind of regret. Did the ends justify the means? Is a question that you might have in the Five of Swords. So we see intuition. We see the completion of a cycle. We see some question around integrity. Okay. Well, let's keep looking. Let's keep looking. I've been too ashamed, I guess would be the correct word, to use this deck on film. But let's keep looking at it. So you're present. You're in the Nine of Pentacles. This is solitude. This is comfortable with your solitude. This is a beautiful home, right? There's a snake with her, very Eve in the garden, kind of. But yeah, the Nine of Pentacles is a person in solitude who's comfortable in her solitude. We're clarifying the Queen of Cups here. She like the High Priestess, that is a part of your recent past, is kind of connecting intuitively to a larger world. Her hands. Okay. All right. What else? The Hierophant. This is the card of institutions. There's a dragon here, but it's also a card of divine things coming through divine, really powerful forces. The Hierophant is sometimes associated with institutions because he's also the Pope, El Papa here. And the woman in this, she's alone, you're alone in the present, studying. So there's a kind of scholarship here, and that's that institutional knowledge that comes in a scholarly fashion. Okay, and finally, wow, the Emperor. This is a very powerful, another institutional image. This is the King of Kings, and also a person or a state of decisiveness, of being in your power. So that's your present. So you're finishing something recently. You're looking back over how you got there, and it doesn't mean that you got there in the wrong way. You've pursued your passion. You intuitively knew that this was what you were supposed to do with your life. And you're still receiving knowledge intuitively through books, through study. And this is institutionalized, traditional knowledge that you're receiving. And you've been doing this on your own. That doesn't mean you're, literally alone, but this has been a solitary journey for you. And we've all been in the Nine of Pentacles, isolating in our homes. Home has become newly important, so that makes good sense that, you know, we're all still there. In the background, unbeknownst to us, to you, Aquarius, the King of Cups. Let's find out more about this King of Cups. Okay, what else we get? We get the Ace of Swords, a new truth. So there is something that you need to know. That is, in the background we see the moon there, which makes me think of this moon in darkness, right? So there's if you're in darkness, knowing a new knowledge, a new truth can be the answer to that, right? So we see the moon here, and when you receive that Ace of Swords, you get some kind of truth, and this is a hidden influence. So wonder about that. Secondly, you get the Knight of Wands. Again, this was your recent past. So this would be that your past, recently, whatever happened when you were in that Knight of Wands state, is coming back for you, or is around you still presently. And we see a horseman riding into or through a snowy woods here. Wands are associated with willpower, with fire, and we also see an archer here. I think of Sagittarius in this moment, because we have an archer and a horse, and Sagittarius is that centaur figure. So perhaps there is a fire sign around you, and in this case I'm thinking Sagittarian. Okay, and that's true for Gallia for sure. She has a person in her story who is Sagittarius rising. Okay, and then we get the Nine of Wands. This is the card of struggle, of having learned from struggle, of determination. Okay, so there's a truth. There's a lot of wands. There's a lot of passion and feelings around you. So I would say that because you're very intuitive, right? You've got the High Priestess, Queen of Cups, very powerful. The Hierophant. There's a kind of calling. It's traditional. It's institutional. And your traditions don't need to be Western traditions. They could be indigenous traditions, absolutely, that you're accessing. So in your background is some kind of quiet, fiery truth, or a person who's bringing that truth. And I would say this person is a kind of warrior in a resistance. And they are matched with you right now. They're the King of Cups to where you are the Queen of Cups at this moment. So, okay. Well, I'm really curious to know more about you appearing here as Ten of Wands. A fire in the wands, but also it's a kind of time to quit your job. You're finished with this passion. You're done, and you're ready to move forward into a new cycle. 10 is the end of your wands cycle. So, and the wands are willpower, passion, the physical, desiring body, creativity. So, what else about you in the present? We get the star, your sign. Okay. Aquarius, this is you, the star. You've got a massive sword. See what I mean about these images? Like, they're really awesome, powerful women with incredibly big boobs, whatever. And they're gorgeous. There are lots of owls around her. This speaks of air, of wisdom. The star is about healing, wish fulfillment. So that's your card, but it's also where you're at and the state you're in at this moment. Secondly, we get you again as the King of Cups, right? So this is the King of Cups in this deck. This cool dude with his finger on the bowl, on his emotions, awareness. Here is the King of Cups in this deck. It's kind of a big gorilla with this woman. So whether you see that gorilla is darkness, that emotional depth, these cards are about darkness and about being unafraid of darkness. And she, I think, is the Queen of Cups here. Yeah. We see more of those bats coming in, or dragons. So that's you. So that's the hidden influence, is you. Or sort of, and we could see in the hierarchy of tarot, the queen ascends into the king. Very mature, emotionally as well. And then we get the Six of Cups. This is inner child. This is nostalgia. This is soulmate. I think this is your inner child here appearing. Yeah, very intense, deep, dark, past lives connection, sort of an ancestral sense of yourself. So if I were to do the rest of this chart here, we clearly have a Scorpio part of you and the King of Cups. And the Six of Cups, that doesn't really tell me more of your chart. Or Gallia's chart, right? Because that's what this is all for, is to find out about Gallia, this character. Okay, people in Gallia's life, or people in your life, Aquarius. The Knight of Swords, right? This fast knight, ready to get on that bike and move. Who is this? This is Strength, a Leo. So strength is about taming your inner beast. It's about pride, power to control your lower bestial nature. So the Knight of Swords here, this fast-moving knight, sometimes can be angry, but this person has extraordinary self-control and an ability to rise above anger and at least to not harm from that strong sense. And remember, there is a Nine of Wands around you and your hidden influences that I usually interpret as someone in resistance, someone usually like, well, not usually, like in this case, I see a warrior who is a warrior for justice. And so I think this person in your life is kind of resonating with that. This may or may not be someone that you've actually met yet, someone who is coming into your life, right? They're coming in now, or you are moving towards them as well, or maybe moving in the same direction. Okay, secondly, they are the Knave of Cups. So this is a crushy, youthful, romantic quality to this person. All right. And thirdly, like you, they are in Ten of Wands. This is the same card that you appear in here. So this could be you, another aspect of you, but I don't think that. I think this is, wow. Yeah, I see another character in my story, Camilla, and she is definitely a warrior. And she is, in my story, Gallia's soulmate, best friend. Yeah, I see her here. A great huntress and warrior. Yeah, she definitely has that struggle between her violence. Yes, and she has a surprisingly light heart. That's Really cool to meet her here in Gallia's story. So if you have somebody like that in your life, a real warrior, leader, powerful person who may have some anger, righteous anger in them, but they've got this under control, and they have worked really hard. That they are at the peak of their career in some way, at the Ten of Wands, just like you. They're the same as you on some level, and they're coming. They're ahead in your journey. You're only meeting them intuitively at this moment. Okay, cool. So your advice is this Ten of Pentacles, right? And as we talked about, there's a few ways to interpret this advice. So we're looking at Gallia's story. She's going to meet this Knight of Swords, Camilla, the Volscian girl, and she is in motion. We see movement in the future, but there's also this kind of control, like this holding on to something here. Either letting go or holding on is the advice. So what else do we get? The Eight of Cups. This is the Eight of Cups. This means this card is about, again, time to move. There's something unfulfilling where you are. You have reached the limits of emotional fulfillment here in the present. This would possibly have to do with why you need to pack up and go and quit your job, quit whatever the project is you're involved in right now, and go and seek something that is more fulfilling. I want to say it's in your work because this is a Pentacles card, but it could simply be your home life. Like, it's been great, you're proud of what you've accomplished here, but there's something missing. And so you're being called forth on what in the Eight of Cups is a spiritual journey. And she has wings here. So she is poised and prepared, and she has what she needs to travel to the next part of her story. The Nine of Cups is personal, individual fulfillment. The Ten of Cups is a true love, completion and fulfillment, communally or in relationship, to complete a cycle. Within a spiritual journey, there's one deck that represents this as the Buddha. Okay. Secondly, your advice is Ace of Pentacles. This is the beginning of something new. It is in the material realm. Yeah, it looks like she is walking up to this massive door. So there's a new journey, a new Pentacles is very practical. A new job, a new home. Definitely you're moving towards something new. It's 3D, and Five of Wands would suggest that there's chaos, competition with others. Like these three guys, they're just ready for battle, right? So this card is usually like get organized. It can be also about having integrity and knowing yourself in the midst of other people's chaos and other people's opinions. There's going to be lots of opinions around you, so you need to know who you are in a Five of Wands and have integrity or be a leader, right? So yeah, I feel like it's much more about integrity on an individual level because of this movement that is the Eight of Cups. I think of this as a solitary journey, and I see this woman, this winged woman, as solitary. I see her walking up alone to this door, okay? And you may have companions with you who are, giving input on this journey, but you need to know what you know here. And I think that she knows, she's looking inward, right? She has integrity. That's what this card, the way that the person in this card and the way it is drawn, like this sort of pride in self and knowledge of, like, I've worked on these pentacles, I know who I am here. Okay, so integrity, go forward on a new journey, seek fulfillment, and be sure to have integrity and to know who you are on this journey. In the future, further, a journey, the Six of Swords, the intellectual realm of swords, of air, which is Aquarian, and of course air and water. As the cup holder is Aquarius, you are also associated with the water, aqua. So let's see, a little bit glimpse into Gallia's future travels. Will she meet her Knight of Swords? Will she travel with her Knight of Swords? Will you? It seems to be a little bit of solitary journey. The Hermit. There is a period of self-reflection, right? She's looking at herself reflected in the water. The Hermit is an inward spiritual journey, and it's also looking inward for that integrity that we see coming up here. Secondly, we get fulfillment. Remember, your advice was the Eight of Cups. Here's that Nine of Cups. That follows the Eight of Cups. That's not too surprising. But yeah, this is individual personal fulfillment. And finally, we get the Lovers, right? So yes, we do get Camilla in Gallia's near future. We do get you meeting up with this Knight of Swords, this fast, intellectual, strong warrior person. Yes, it's romantic too. This person is very romantic in a very immature way, right? So this could be like someone who might be a little bit emotionally immature. That's okay, because you are also defined here by the Six of Cups. So you have a childlike capacity, which is not bad. It's wonderful to be able to play and have fun. This is something that many people do a lot of recovery to be able to do that. So you and your Knight of Swords have that in common. The Lovers are in your future. This is a meeting of souls. You're not the same. You're quite different, right? There's, again, we keep seeing, and it's because this is the Dark Tarot, but we see that there is a kind of almost an alien encounter here between two. It's a cross species. There's lots of monsters in this reading and in this Dark Tarot deck, and there's darkness. This little rabbit under the dark moon and the darkness. This is a period of darkness, and I think in my story, it taking place in the end of the world as we're currently experiencing it, and it is going to lead to the beginning of a new world, and there is travel. There is interstellar travel ahead, and yes, Gallia and Camilla will meet before this journey. We'll tell you more about Camilla later. She's a Cancer. I'll tell you more about her in a Cancer reading. And I think I'm doing Capricorn soon, and she has Capricorn in her chart as well. So we'll see if Camilla comes up there for us. Yeah, you got to go. You've got to go. You're going to meet somebody, but this is a spiritual individual journey first towards greater fulfillment, and you must have integrity on this journey. Be well.